No tree, it is said, can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell. Carl Gustav Jung. Good evening, welcome to my third live stream of the day. I felt like last week because my son's sickness and my daughter having no school on Thursday and Friday, I felt like I just kind of needed to do a little bit more stuff as far as material, and heck, there's so much material out there. Not just on material things, just so you know. Okay, by the way, hi Eagle Planemaker. I saw you on my last one before I started getting everything ready, and of course it takes a while to get everything ready, so I'm just kind of trying to get focused. Okay, so on my video, on my secondary account, my Tequila Mockingbird YouTube account, the On Topic to Murder of Tracy Twyman, someone commented, name is Kyle J. Thank you for putting all this together and keeping the story alive. I know it must have been a lot of work. Have you ever seen the 11-minute animated film In Shadow, a Modern Odyssey animated short film? I believe it depicts our current situation near totality. It paints a bleak but accurate picture. Thankfully, it has an uplifting ending. I know you will find it very impacting. Search for it on YouTube. God bless. So I went ahead and did so, and I watched it, but I wasn't really paying too much attention to it, but I watched it through because I wanted to do a review of this, like a actual, because it's an animated short film, to actually do a live review where I'm watching it and you're watching it and just having thoughts afterwards. And if you want to come on in the description box, there's a link to Zoom, so you could come on in and talk about it as well as watch with me. And one thing, I'm going to read the comments, or not the comments, the description within In Shadow. Now I went to this channel and it only has 2 videos, the trailer, which was made a year ago, and then the actual short film, and that's it. I'm like, okay. November 13th 2017, so that's when it was released, published. It says, embark on a visionary journey through the fragmented unconscious of our modern times. It could be, remove that T. And with courage, face the shadow, through shadow into light. And it quotes, which is the quote of the day that I used, no tree, it is said, can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell, by Carl Gustav Jung. Now, this is written and directed and produced by Lubomir Arsov. Original soundtrack Age of Wake by Starward Projections, composited by Sheldon Lizoy, additional compositing by Hiram Gifford, art directed and edited by Lubomir Arsov. In Shadow is an entirely independently funded not-for-profit film. If you'd like to support the artist, donate here, click donate tab, and you go to their website and you click donate, and there's quality art prints available. There's a website, Facebook, composers, and if you want to contact, you go to the website. Copyrighted Lubomir Arsov 2017. Heck, go ahead and copyright strike me. Everyone does, and gain the proceeds for it. That's a pretty good amount right there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and play it, and I'll see you in 13 minutes, and then we'll go back and look at snippets of it and just talk about it, okay? All right. I'll see you guys in a bit, and enjoy. Okay, so I'm gonna go over it kind of picture by picture without the music in the background. A lot of it's visual, the music is there. A lot of it's just kind of the same. I mean, it's very good as far as the entirety of it. I liked it. I think it does show the human condition, um, and a lot of it's open to some interpretation, but not quite. It's definitely influential on a lot of the occult and Gnostic, as well as a mix of things. But let's just try to go over it. A lot of it just passes by really quick, so I will pause when there's something to take note of. And starts out as just one cell of something splitting into three. The three is usually the Trinity type of thing. Anyways, that is just kind of a depiction of just space with the stars, and you can see that looks like an eye. But coming out of that is a black cube. Maybe it's the black cube of Saturn. Now note that there's the shape of continents. It's not a globe, but in it is a cube. So I guess depicting like you've got the circle and the square, but rather than the circle and the square, you've got like a sphere and a cube. So typically the square would be the heavens, and the circle would be the earth. And so you've got the earth encased in heaven, or maybe heaven encased in earth. Probably one of the. Anyways, just one of those things to think about. I wonder if I should just even slow it down. That might actually even be better. Give me a second here. Let's do playback speed. Half that. I don't want to go too long on this video. So I'm playing it back in half speed, and you see dark clouds approaching a big city. I guess like a darkness creeping in. You got the light in the back, behind or within, underneath the city. Pretty much light versus dark. It is called In Shadow. And after the title part, it moves on to a building, which is just kind of opening up, revealing light inside, and zooming in, supposedly seeing what's inside it, and you got this red glow. You've got actual pillars. You got 4 pillars, but you got things that look like pillars, but they're not. They look like some entities, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 entities surrounding a red cube. And you don't get to see that they're people until their arms get raised up. So some like the worshippers of the black cube, of a red cube in this case, I guess Saturn. And basically they are putting a spell or something on people, and you can see through the heart of this individual and the darkness that's enveloping, and the red cube, which is imprisoning the mind of this individual. So it's kind of putting people to sleep and taking control. And hands on the ears. People don't want to look. They don't want to listen. Their eyes are closed. And again, more depictions of just people with their eyes closed, like you say, asleep, working in, I guess, some odd conditions. Man carrying his house on his back. guy hugging his car. We've got people without any necks, eyes closed, and their heads, fragments just receding from that. Like, I don't know exactly what that is, but the initial part before, definitely attachment to materialism. You got time speeding away. Looks like a bunch of people who just work, are businessmen, women, just kind of going about their day. You've got a lot of black smoke coming out of them, and you've got this smiley mask, just kind of an empty mask, but people wear it. You see it on screens, or when they're looking at certain screens. They're not too happy. They're just kind of asleep, but they put on this mask of happiness. You can see everyone who's wearing a mask is happy. You don't know exactly if they are or not. And you see them intoxicating themselves and enjoying themselves, not as being sober in them and the normal everyday life. You got drugs and alcohol, I guess, making out and having sex, rather than doing all this and experiencing things sober. You've got this, and again, you've got like the hypnotism type of thing going on. And you can see the chakra here on a baby. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Something being born that's heavenly, and then being just injected with things. And you've got a bunch of kids who are asleep, encased, mind trapped. Interesting here, you can see the teacher, right, is wearing the diploma hat. Black Cube of Saturn, kind of occultism there. The student that you're seeing, that I guess what was a baby, with the 7 chakras, 7 lights, and now it's more of just a mix and just daydreaming or something. Whatever that is, it's being siphoned off by this entity, and this entity could be that teacher. Guessing that's the same student, yeah. And then they're thereby encasing, enslaving the child. And again, you've got the teacher who's got the the hat that people wear when they graduate, right? All right. So a lot of subtlety in this video, and things move by fast, and I'm playing it in half speed. You've got he's pretty much getting all these kids to fall off a cliff without them even knowing, and transitions into pills that the person is taking, getting militarized, and you got soldiers asleep with their big assault weapons, and they're destroying towns and cities. You've got coffins, all the dead, and inside are filled with businessmen with money, blood on the money, a lot of dead skulls. And then you'll see that it's being depicted, rather than seeing what is actually going on. A screen falls over. They're being depicted as angels. I would guess that they're the ones behind all the war, either politicians or whatnot. And they're depicted with halos, angel wings, flowers instead of the money, and babies. They're seen as good. And you could see that in appears a reporter who's just showing, hey, look how good these people are, in the name of nationalism. And you've got more news. You can see it looks like a news. They don't tell you exactly. It's just blurred. You've got people in suits who are being puppets. You can see the strings. You don't see the puppeteers yet. And you've got these dark entities who have these attachments towards these people who are the talking heads in media, and just black stuff spewing out. I guess that's just lies and evil, I guess, darkness, whatever you want to call it. And they're being told to say what they need to say. And you've got happy media personnel, just eyes closed, just talking whatever they're meant to talk. You've got their whatever they need to say. Again, they've got strings on them. They got the voice feeder going towards their head, and they're just talking about how just an ordinary person, they got that mask, the face mask of happiness, with the military boot on their face. And they're just, again, spewing out just dark stuff. And again, you can see it. It's like The View, daytime, it looks glamorous. And you got all these kids, people, sexualization of celebrities and singers, and all the kids out there are really like looking up to them and their fame. And you've got the dark figure behind it all, and you got the celebrities, the singers, the artists, dancers, whatever they are, putting on the face of happiness. They don't want the public to see how they really look. And you've got ones that do are actually happy with their celebrity. They don't have to put on their mask. And you got people worshiping them, the cult of personality, and people just taking all. And you got them with their faces, they're kind of frozen in that smiling position, and you've got these chokehold neck types of bracers or something on them being pulled. So they're being controlled as well. You got the dark figures behind them that you just see. And you've got people in movie theaters watching an action film, ordinary people being depicted as happy with action and love, romance, etc. You've got someone who's got their brain open, accepting an award like the Oscar. He's got mic into film like a camera. That's like him being a director. But what you see in the background, the reason why he's got his head split open with the access to his brain is you got these suits, big fat suited guys who are just blowing red into their brain. Now in the entire animated short of this, you'll notice the black, and then there's the red. The red is control, black is just the darkness, the shadow. And so basically he's controlling the director who's creating all these mediums for people to consume and watch. You've got this, again, you got this person who's mind controlled, and you've got probably looks like a teen, male teen, who's watching on big screen women who look like they're laughing at him. They're happy, putting on the happy face and just maybe mocking him or something. And you've got someone, you could see that there's just a hole in their heart. That one is a quick one that passes. Let's see, you've got a phone, a heart, and a trophy, and a laptop. And rather than all these things just kind of pass through him. And one person that looks like someone like a Steve Jobs presenting something magical, which is the smartphone, and that everyone's just clamoring to get. And people just become addicted to it. And like pretty much the idea of the social medium, you can see people aren't happy at all. You can see from their faces there's no smiling. And you got the red control. They're being controlled by their or you could think of red as not just controlled but also as distraction. And they're just zombified in some ways. And you've just got all the light being diminished and just a bunch of darkness coming out of them. There's really nothing heavenly about them. They're putting on the happy face on their outward look. Rather than being happy themselves, they are presenting to others who are as well, putting on the happy mask of how happy they are, how good their lives are when they appear miserable. And that seems to be, there's a person playing video games, shooting up a bunch of kids and a bunch of kids who are just watching and playing games, who are talking and drinking, and everybody's just kind of all the things that are going on in the background, like just industrial pollution, energy, which is just being consumed just for people to share pictures with themselves, conversations, something where they're just distracted from all the things that are going on that they should be looking at and paying attention to. More materialism, women going shopping, enjoying themselves. That's when they're happy. You don't see them needing to wear masks. They got their happiness because they are engaging in materialism. And you've got, it appears to people, business in suits with sunglasses. I don't know exactly who they are, but you've got women who are models of some sort. They're very thin, very skinny, unhealthily so. Their faces are gaunt, and they've got the collar and a leash attached to them. And I think this is just a visual presentation of them, but and you could, these little quick snippets, you just can see them being just really, really fat women, not sexy at all. In the material terms, you either got someone who's just the women who are very fat or very, very skinny. Both don't look very good. And you've switching it over to animals that are, and looks like dogs, and maybe one looks like a rabbit or a cat, maybe just being it's just like a meat locker of some sort in a way, just all skinned. And you've got some woman here you don't get to see the face of, and you've got makeup, people, women making themselves look good. They got their phones around them, while you've got all these dead skinned dogs around them. Same thing with rabbits. I guess experimentation of okay, so experimenting on animals in order for people or women to consume and make themselves look good physically. Rather naturally. And you know, you got more of the black smoke going out of them, and women changing, having different types of clothes just being switched around. And you can see the crack in the mask, and again, their woman is asleep, either tears or blood coming through out of their eyes. It looks more like blood. And the same there, but this time it's she's showing herself off in front of a lot of men, and the men have their collars and their leashes, and they're just I guess that is type of worship, or just idolization of beauty, at least what's considered that. And you've got women who are just kind of talking behind, they're just like same thing, you know, the idolization of the material physical form. So that was men with the woman, and now there's women with men who've injected themselves with steroids to make themselves look strong, big, and you know, it switches to, instead of 3 big men, 3 scared, timid children. And you've got some fella with some let's see, like a lamp on him. He's got a hat. I don't know where that's going. You got a woman with the same and just showing people, trying to show people, hey, look how happy I am. And oh, okay, so that person is just showing, look at me, look at all these tattoos. And I think each of these probably have something on them they want people to see. I don't know exactly what with the first three, but definitely the fourth one is, pointing to the tattoos that he has. But just wants to show everybody how happy they are. And you don't see the mask. And now you've got these anonymous individuals with the logos of the red cube on their chest, on their sweatshirts. And they just end up being, it looks like, teens, young adults. They are shattered. I don't know exactly what that depicts, so that's kind of beyond me. And it looks like three more, and I think so the shattering of just a normal young adult to becoming one that's they're resorting to thievery. You've got a backlog there, the masks. I guess that's what it is. They're I don't know what that transition really is about. And you've got more people smiling, just showing how happy they are. While they're showing how happy they are, you've got pigs who are too fat to move around, turn around, or even move in their own cages. I mean, this goes pretty deep. And you've got basically this would be depict a cow, and just how much of just a cow is just used for slaughter. And it looks like these could be chickens as well, and people just consuming, although raw, looks like just putting the whole animals in their mouths. And each of those animals just get bigger and bigger. And you've got chemically injected food. This is an apple. It didn't look very good. They started injecting it, and got the flashes. Hey, it looks good. And you got all these other food. The only one I could really make out is the broccoli, and again, it's got things that are attached to it to either inject or change in some way. And you've got a handout to a person who's just not looking too good, that's just consuming all these things. And you got all these tumors appearing on them, and you got a whole bunch of people who are who are hospitalized, probably because of all the food. You can see drugs, people showing, hey, look at this drug, look at this drug, look at this drug, how it'll make you happier, to hope, and whatnot. And you've got the businessmen, the suits, and the doctors all just kind of showing, hey, look, and they're shaking their hands at the same time behind their backs, when they're just saying, hey, look, here's a new drug. And you got this person that looks like a Joker, actually, lab coat, and just explosions of different pharmaceutical drugs out there. That's pretty much death, and people are just clamoring to get them. They're just addicted to them, and wanting them or needing them. And you got the parents who are force feeding their children to take the medicines. And you've got the people who are imprisoned, their minds imprisoned. There's that control, and they're just kind of idolizing the doctor. That's and the doctor themselves is brainwashed, controlled. Now you start seeing a lot of the black stuff coming out. A lot of individuals. This person has cubes and squares coming out of his brain. He's got awards, or one person behind him. One suit has an award. One person has money. And basically the doctor has one of his hands with a bunch of has patients encased in red cube of his own, and on the other hand, you've got the as above, so below, and above he's putting on top the darkness, the shadow, in order to control his patients. And in return he gets money and accommodation. So you got more suits just kind of smiling, stealing from each other, shaking hands, and all that sneaky business. They're just all in the same boat and taking from each other, but consuming each other. Bigger ones just eating the smaller ones up. And you've got elderly people, this elderly woman who's handing out money to probably a politician, just so things can be good, and this politician's handing money over to a uniformed officer, and that officer is taking it and giving it to a soldier. So you've got the controlled opposition line here, and you've got a bunch of people with weapons, guns, who are behind protection, and you've got basically drug-induced people who are addicted to drugs, and the drug dealers who are collecting the money, and you've got the people with badges, which looks like authority figures, probably the CIA. You can see with their ear materials that they've got. It looks like they're handing them the drugs. That's just the bigger bulk of the drugs. So you've got the government who are within the drug industry, giving them to the drug dealers, which they are giving to just people to use and consume for money. And again, you've got in the background, which looks like the type of like a White House, so depicting politics and politicians, and you've got the person wearing a wig, all putting up the silence, and while you got dead people hanging in the background, dead trees. You don't see any like natural life in here, cracked ground. And I guess okay, so I didn't notice it before, but those stacks that look like bricks, they're actually bricks of drugs. So in the previous scene, when we were seeing the politician, the elderly lady give it to the two-faced politician, the politician giving it to the officer giving it to some militant, and they're basically guarding all these drugs, right? So that's what those stacks are. They're stacks of drugs, and they've got all these drugs. They're going quiet while they're laundering money, and you got the laundry machines with money inside. That's what it's staying. And they go, shh, don't tell anybody. No one's supposed to know. And one thing I didn't look too close of, if you look within the White House looking thing, the building that's got the 5 pillars, there's that circle part up there, and it's basically 2 hands, 2 fists raised up together. I don't know what that might mean at the moment. And you've got just money, dough rolling in, and you got that same picture with 2 hands. That might be just people being enslaved, arrested. Maybe that depicts the prison industrial complex, and you've got politicians just smiling at the money rolling in within the prison industrial complex because of they get people arrested. So I guess when people run out of money because they don't have money to buy drugs, they get arrested for using drugs, and then they make money off of them because they're in the prison industrial complex. And you've got these looks like elderly couple who are just kind of giving their money away, and the politicians just taking the money out of their pockets, and you got blindfolds on these people. And of course the politicians are these people who are taking all the money away and smiling about it. You got the darkness coming out of them. And you got the politicians, the same politicians you saw who were doing the with the money laundering and the drugs, just kind of laughing about it and enjoying themselves. It's just a big joke to them. They're playing around with these just ordinary people, dangling money in front of them while they're crawling around. You got all the fish that are dying because they're bottling all the water, the clean water up that the fish used to live in, and selling it to people. And that looks like probably money or some stock, because it's got the plus on the top right. And people going, I don't know what's going on. And you got indigenous people being hung. I mean, this goes by really quick, right? Let's just go again here. They're playing dumb, I guess. They go, I've got nothing to do with it, type of thing. They're smiling about it, and you can see the hole in their where they're in their chest. Now you got these natives that are living in the jungle, and this is pretty much the first time you really see actual nature and just actual nature, untamed, tamed by the people who respect nature. And then what ends up seeing with their villages, you got the villagers dead, and all the jungles and nature just disappearing, their homes disappearing, and instead you got power lines being installed behind them. And then you've got more of the politicians just smiling and laughing and doing, shh, hey, don't tell anybody. And you've got a couple of people who are protesting, it looks like. You got, because rather than when you see others talk, you would see darkness come out of them, the shadow, the darkness, the lies, whatever. And these people are speaking the truth. You got light coming directed into them and out of their mouths, and you see them being locked up and imprisoned. And you've got from everywhere, from people, I guess they're depicting Muslims maybe with chests of gold. Oh, I see. Maybe not. They're more like I don't know. Maybe that is what it is. It's people with turbans, and you've got the Native American with the top hat politician. They're just bumping fists and hugging each other, and chests of gold. And you've got a bunch of what looks like maybe slaves, shackles around their necks, and they just turn into typical so the black enslavement into the black the family that are now living in cities. They're trapped in the cities, and they're flooded with drugs and weapons. And you see that the father disappears, the mother disappears, the siblings disappear, and you've got the kid growing up. He's got all the bling, he's got weapons, there are guns, and he's just the rap thug life. And you got someone who's on a high expensive car with the big diamond, and again you got the gold necklace and big bootied woman, and just like in all the rap these days, and all the dancing, and just the current society is, it's like the thug life type of thing. And you've got guards, it looks like Egyptian guards, I don't know exactly that part. And you've got people choking each other out, fighting each other with the darkness coming out of them. and they're on some platform, and people are watching them and laughing and smiling. It's like, I don't know what they're fighting about type of look, and they're just enjoying what they're seeing. And you've got people who are telling each other to don't talk, don't say anything, rather than self-censorship. The people are censoring each other. And looks like you've got this another suit. This time it's a woman who's controlling this other person who's got his hands around a young girl, and she's got the black stuff out, coming out. The one that's putting her hand over the young girl's mouth. This other thing is weird when there's blue circles coming out. They're all holding smartphones, and they're yelling and pointing, but they've got what looks like strings, but I can't quite tell if that's what they are. They're just talking about it. They're saying it, and on the other side, you see a young man whose mouth is covered with someone else who's being controlled by, again, this time a male suit with black stuff coming out, the darkness. And this one, you've got, it looks like a slave, maybe a sex slave, with cell phones or something being recorded, but the brain is being controlled, and you've got suits around them, kind of somber. You've got someone, I guess, sitting in an office, most likely the president. Interestingly, got one of the guy who said to watch it. You can see that there's a picture portrait of pizza and hot dogs on the right, and on the left you got a picture of 4 people and something else, and he's sitting on a desk of bones, skull and bones. Maybe that's another symbolism of the type of people who've sat in office, like George W. Bush and John Kerry and a whole bunch of others. People who seem to be praying and scared, and eyes that are blindfolded. This woman's reaching her hands out, and it looks like they're asking for help. They're asking for all these politicians, and this politician's in the podium who's got a puppet string on him, because you can see he's enshadowed in the red of control, and you've got a whole bunch of politicians just smiling out there, and it doesn't matter which politician sits in power. They're all being controlled. Just one politician's the same as any politician that seems to come in. And you got all these politicians who are you've got you've got people who are yelling at each other, pointing fingers at each other. You got the red versus blue, so you got, it's basically like Democrats versus the Republicans. All of them are fighting each other. They're blind, they don't know it. And you've got all the politicians who are like pretty much fucking them in the ass, and they don't even notice. They're just more worried about each other. And you've got another politician just riding the strings of mom and dad, I guess, blindfolded. And you got this the politicians or people in the justice system and everybody. There's you could tell that they're smoking or inhaling coke and stuff like that, and just laughing and enjoying it. This person who's blindfolded, who's kind of smiling, he doesn't know. And you've got, again, the cops. Very on the right, you'll see that one is a uniformed cop. I guess the other is probably some actor. He kind of looks like some actor. I don't want to say his name. And you've got a bunch of scared kids that are crying, surrounded by 3 guys who are holding the finger up of the actually 4 people. And they got the red control that's surrounding the kids. And then you'll see that there's very, very quick snippet of it's basically a blip You know, you got a young boy and young girl that are just huddling naked together, scared. And then afterwards, you see the kids that are crying, and you got the mom and dads, the parents, the adults, just with their eyes closed, their hands over the ears. They don't even want to know. And you got the smiling big guy in a suit that's not tidy, you know, grizzled look on his face with black darkness coming out of him. Pretty much know what happened there. And you've got some funny midget type of thing. I don't know what exactly that is, but in his left hand he's got a sword, right hand he's got some type of SMG, and people. Oh, okay. The politician's pointing to them. So, and the people, the normal people, are scared. And he's saying, "Hey, look how dangerous that person is. He's armed." So basically, politician protecting the people who are scared of the boogeyman of you know, that's like the whole Second Amendment. Oh, people have weapons. You better be scared of them. And here's an interesting one. You've got like a couple who are just in their bed, and it's almost like a coffin. They're just on their phones, and you've got suits presenting to them with cameras, and it's kind of like it's their own house. Glass house maybe is what it's trying to depict. Yeah, I mean, coffins. They're laying in glass coffins, just addicted to their smartphones. They don't want to see or hear what's going on. They just want to distract themselves with the entertainment. And you've got the one of the reporters doing the he's got his pants down, so yeah, he's probably you know, one of the pedophiles. And you've got a woman who's just smiling with the microphone, and then you start seeing them becoming more haggard. And the same male reporter with his pants down, and the woman just getting less and less happy about it, or you just see them being more decayed, is pretty much what this depiction is. You've got a whole bunch of people who are just kind of trapped in, huddled together, sitting on top. I guess that's they're lifting up the people above them, and the people above them, they're no longer quite humans. It's just you know, whatever's left of them is just most of the shadow. And you've got the light coming out from some source. I guess that's all the light of the individuals being harvested, and it's moving up and through, and you've showing more people, the same people, but this time all the black stuff is coming out of their scalp and their heads, and this beam of light that was theirs is being imprisoned into, looks like some cube with four beings that look like they were once human, and so all this light into this little barrier, and you've got the masks on each of these little, it looks like looks like a television set or a monitor, and it looks pretty much like a all those are forming into a big sphere. And you've got these guards, fully armored with shields that are filming everything, and they're all protecting all the energy that's being taken with bombers and fighters and missiles. And they've got people entrenched. There's nothing that they can do. They're pretty much trapped. And it looks pretty bleak at this point. Oh, heck, this is bleak. Short. And you've got zoom in on a guard. All these guards, you got on their helmet is the black cube, and depicting him with his wife and family. That's the American dream. They're just following orders. They're just trying to live the American dream. Their houses fall, their car goes away. Everything is all the houses are being swept away. All the buildings are crumbling and being destroyed. People are falling from all the things that they were doing. Everything has to fall apart and crumble. Now you see the imprisonment, the red cube just being destroyed, and people falling into a chasm, into, I guess, hell or something. So just even the doctors that were there, they're just being torn apart by nature, and people who are clinging on to what they gained, they're just being torn apart as well. And you've got the big business person, the politicians, billionaire, millionaire, whatever person in control. On the left, you got men and women who are in their undies, kind of in a way. You've got the red cube surrounding, imprisoning all four of these people. On the right, they're kind of closed. The man's suit shatters, and you see him just being frightened, and he's not really a good looking fella. Fat, balding, and he had all the confidence in the world with his suit. Once he's naked, he's not. And then there's his smiling face no longer. Now it's more of just being shattered. So this kind of resembles my second experience with ayahuasca and death. No one's gonna hold you. You're not gonna have a constant. No matter how powerful you are here, material, that's not enough to, how long can you hold on to that before it just disappears? And no matter how strong you are, whether you're Superman or not, the stronger you are, it was like the more likely you're to vibrate your way into nothing. But if you just relax, give in, and just rely on others, in this connection of, I guess, love, really. And you don't have to fight. You don't have to hold yourself together. And I would say in this experience with death, which is the ultimate death, the vibrating way into nothingness, that is the ultimate torture. Just to see, it would be like almost with any death, but this is like the finality of it, that you just see how strong someone is and see how long they could hold on to something, and if they don't, they end up dying. So the more that they try to hold on to it, to themselves and their life, that it's just harder and harder for them to do. But then when they just let go, they realize, it's actually fine, because they realize that there's nothing to be afraid of if you don't do certain things. And I think a lot of the things that have been out there might have been good at one point in time. It's more of a guideline for people to follow. And heck, if you follow this guideline, hey, most likely you'll be all right. But then a lot of things happen, right? So you see this person pretty much dying the material death. All the money that this person really gained didn't save him, didn't help him in the end. You don't bring that with you. Just kind of vomiting out all that darkness, and you see this happy-faced person. It doesn't seem like a mask, but it's getting closer and closer to the killing themselves sign. You got a naked male, naked female. It's kind of floating around in the ether or whatever. I'm not exactly sure what that is. And as the closer and closer it gets to death, they start rising into the, I guess, the light. It's kind of an ascension, really. It looks like they're in water, but it looks more of also cosmos type of thing. And then the mask comes off, and you can kind of see a face, and things are blasted away. And you got this person. You can just wipe away the skin, the flesh, bones, and it's just the death in fire. And you can see the brain, and inside the brain is this seed of consciousness. This consciousness is still there. It's resonating, and you just see it just expanding. And when this consciousness is tapped into, you become this pretty much person made out of flame and fire and light, and permeates through their entire cells, and you just see this perfection of the human form and what it was supposed to be and become, and just rising above all the ones that didn't, I guess, save that light. And you see the pyramid, and that's very occult. So you've got the sun behind the ascending man, and above a peak of a mountain that's a pyramid, and you've got a bunch of broken cities flying around, and there's this crack in the just the fabric of this man, and you see him just become a being of just pure light and energy. And you'll see it once as a male figure, and now you see this figure with a woman, and you see more of the consciousness just kind of being reborn. It looks almost like a phoenix rising type of thing, and that phoenix rising is the human spirit, the astral form, and you see the eye, the sun, a bunch of different type of motifs, I guess. And in there forms a male and female, both holding a sword and olive branches, it looks like. That's like the Adam and Eve on top of a circle of a globe, and now there's that they're standing on, and rising above is the sky, the stars. You see it rotating, and just kind of a new world. All the old stuff, all the spirits within, they end up going in, and you see these vines around the male and female, and then it goes to a baby form, and behind it is the tree of life, Yggdrasil. You've got the roots of the earth, and you've got the branches up into the sky and the stars, and you just see life spring forth, nature again. So a new cycle seems to have started, and you just see the new ascension, the new form, the baby, and then you've got the eyes opening with the cosmos in each eye of that you see. And I think that's the end, right? So that was a long you heard wrong, Port Film Co-op, but you might want to ask who that was from. Anyone who's afraid of drinking tea from a plant, I don't know what I would think about that. It's like, why would I listen to anything they have to say, right? It's like, well, I heard that if you take blah blah blah, you're this. I must be quite a coward. I mean, I took it 3 times, so don't want to try it once. I just say cowardice. It'd be like saying, hey, I heard only wussies drink tea. It's like, all right, what are you drinking? Gatorade, Powerade? Get all that nutrients and more than just tea. Most natural thing and healthiest thing for you. I'll bet you the person who drinks tea is probably going to be stronger than the person who drinks your Powerade, Gatorade type of thing. Anyways, that's all I want to say about that. Just giving you a hard time. Or at least the person who said that stuff. All right. Thank you for joining me on this session. This was just a quick, I don't know, not much of a review, just kind of my assessment on what we just watched, and give it a watch yourself. Look into it. What do you think of it? What do you think? I mean, a lot of it goes into a lot of stuff people are being called conspiracy theories for, even though they do happen. Here's the hypocrisy of it. You got the people who are saying that, hey, child trafficking and all this other stuff, that's just conspiracy theory, and then they're going to report on it once multiple times, or they've had their publishers reporting on it before. It's all out there. Washington Post, New York Times, what have you, even CNN, they're all going to report on, hey, how could this have happened? The Catholic Church and all these people. It's like, yeah, because you didn't pay attention to it. Someone else had to go and figure it out and reveal it. And now you don't want to be left out, so you're reporting on it. But then the next time it happens, they go, "Oh, well, you should be quiet. It's all conspiracy theory." And everyone else is just like, "Hey, shut up. You shouldn't be talking. You should self-censor yourself, or we'll censor you." Anyways, a lot of it is very pertinent. It is just the modern Odyssey that we find ourselves today. You've either got the red cube of control around it, or you're just being a puppet of someone else who's probably being controlled. You get to be the victim, and you're asking. I mean, it's great. I like how you've got the politicians telling people how scared that they need to be, and all the people who are just scared of what's going on, they're looking towards the politicians to say, hey, save us, we need your help. And they're the ones who are perpetrating and carrying everything out, which is causing all this stuff to happen in the first place. And I still see it today. Good people who want the world to be better, to go, you know what, we just need to put this politician in office. No, how about this politician in office? And the same ones who created all this stuff, and it doesn't matter. Once they get in, you see them just being puppets of somewhere else, red or blue, Democrat or Republican. Anyways, it can be pretty, I mean, it's I think on the surface, it's pretty straightforward. The short film, things go by really quick, and then there are some deeper stuff, more esoteric things that are seen in it. So overall, I like it. I think for 13-minute, maybe it's more 11 after all the intro and the credits, but everything moves by really quick. But of course, you need to do that if it was 2 hours long. I don't know if most people's attention span would even last that long. I would love an expanded version, maybe even a second film. It was pretty good. Something more drawn out, not something that quick, but I think it's just people will watch this not just once but twice, maybe 3 times, and just gain from it. It's like, hey, that's depicting this, that's depicting that, and you know, it's pretty much what if you're agreeing with me in many things, you're gonna experience it. If you're kind of gone down a similar path, hey, you're gonna just see the same things I've experienced, or you're gonna experience the same things I experienced. This keeps going on, so this does resonate. 2.1 million views is a good thing. And let's look at some of the quotes or comments. I think one of the most overlooked things are the comments. Here's James Garner. How do we get this played at Super Bowl halftime? Mick Waderman. I've watched this 10 plus times over the last year or so. It moves me every time, reminding me to be always vigilant and question everything, especially my own choices. Absolutely amazing piece of art. Maximus Flynn, my doctor. Why are you depressed? Me shows this video. Simona Galimberti. This is the most amazing thing I've seen today about what our world is. Thank you. Speak truth always. Joe Gamach. For me, this is saying that we all have been living under mind control, hypnotized, distracted, and entertained, and impressed and exploited and pitted against each other by people who in turn are controlled by others, and so on until the top, and it seems hopeless till something breaks in man and woman, and we see through the illusions, and the masks break free, and we all wake up from the nightmare movie we've been shown and realize what life is really all about, what's important, and that spark has never been extinguished by any oppressive force in history. The masks are breaking, the facade is falling apart, they can't delete. Everyone fast enough, stay awake and alert. Very good, fella. Joe Gamache. And any videos? You should be making some videos. Not quite. More, I guess, more focused on his family and stuff. That's good. I guess that's what it is. Don't know. Source/adversary, we are capable of the change. I love you all. Kukaracha video was published almost 2 years ago. Just saw it today, and this was 1 month ago. Only 2 million views. Haven't had it in my recommendations. Found through other similar content video. Masterpiece. Great job done, and props to creators. The art of guitar. To whoever made this, holy shit, that was amazing. Swat Lanuska, YouTube degrading it in search views. Hard to find it, but this is so F true. People don't live, people react. So pretty good reaction from the comments, and I like that there's a lot of comments, a lot of views. I would like to see some negative comments, actually. I mean, come on, so many of you agents and stuff that have some comments that you guys make for me. You guys wouldn't make anything of this. Anyways, worth the watch or two again. Hope you enjoyed, if you want to call this a review. That's it. For those 2 people watching, have a good night, and we'll see you another night.